So at this point, I've got all the transistors I have in stock in. I've got to wait for these others to arrive. I've gone ahead and soldered in the two relays. There is a, oh, I've got such a mess here on the bench. There was a note in the or in the manual that shows the orientation where that dark line there is down. So these are mounted in that orientation. The 2003 driver IC is in place. Sorry about the barking dog. I've got the female connector in for the LCD, wherever it's floating around here. I've replaced the pin connector on the LCD, or the adapter with that male pin header. The LCD, of course, just plugs down on. I mounted the LCD to get everything lined up the same way I'm going to do with the PSU adapter board. So I dug around on my stock and I found these brass standoffs. I think they're actually meant for PC motherboards, but maybe not. Get this all out of the way. I've got the 8-position females and males, and I'm just going to put them together, and I'm going to drop it down in place on this side and on this side. And of course I've got the females down against the large part of the board and the males standing up. Then I'm going to just take one of the power supply boards and I'm just going to kind of sit them in place here. And the pins have come through. And then I'm going to put the screws in just to hold this together. I don't need the screws super tight, just enough to hold everything together snug, and then I'll solder this way. And that way I've got alignment of everything. If you're going to use USB power, you need to use one of these adapter boards. I think if you're going to use the barrel plug as well, power, there's multiples of these adapter boards. I haven't actually researched exactly which one is which. All of them in the end produce the VDD, VCC, VBB, and of course VSS is ground. This one says barrel jack on it. Barrel USB, barrel USB, barrel or USB. Oh no, that's okay, that's the connector. That's not what the board adapts for. So 4.5 to 9 volts DC. Barrel jack only. There's some jumpers here. Anyhow, we can just go ahead and solder this up the way it is here. Let me get I've got the soldering glasses on. I'll try not to have my head in the way. So the bench has kind of become a mess here with everything that's going on, but we're very close. I wish I had those final set of transistors, because we would be able to mount that up. That would be very nice to actually get those in and attempt to see if the board operates. So I know the row I'm soldering here are the incoming power from wherever you're bringing power in, barrel jack through 7805, USB, or I guess that's really the only way to bring power on board. If you're directly bringing power on board, I don't think you need one of these adapter boards, because you're bringing in all of the voltage rails, like I say, directly off the board. So let's flip this over and solder these up on the back side. So I didn't order the standoff hardware that he called out, because I have a fair amount of it just floating around here. I've got a bunch of bins of hardware, and I was able to just kind of get into the one where I had brass spacers and, like I say, dig these out. They required a washer under them to get them to a good working height, but that's fine. I just threw a lock washer underneath each one, and boom, we had a good height. So we should be able to pull this board off here now. And this board should just come off and go on. Everything should be nice and straight and square together, and You know, perfect. That works well. I'm happy with that. I'm not going to solder up these others. There's no reason to solder them at the moment. Just get them stacked out of the way. These go back with these two little adapter boards here. And I'm actually going to put them in a larger bag. This bag held relays, so it's now empty. This is a little bit tougher bag than the ones those were originally in, just to keep them together. So what else do I need to mount up here? So go ahead and put the screws in the bag as well, or I will lose them. I actually need to find some. These are flush head screws. I need to find some machine head for this. I know I've got them. It's just a matter of digging them up. So we've used, wow, this has just turned into a mess here on the bench. We've used up all of these we need to. Get rid of the garbage. And PSA 56. I say I opened the wrong side of the bag, but that is what it is. Sometimes it's just too easy to be stupid. That gets the little bag sealed. I might as well put those in with the other transistors. Just so they're all kind of together. I can set this out of the way. What else have I got in the... Right here we've got those screw terminal connectors. I'm not going to use that. We are going to use that. We are getting down to the last few components we can actually mount up. Got too much stuff floating around on here. Oh shoot, I set a part down here and then proceeded to lose it. Though I don't honestly know if I wanted to use it. It was a little tiny USB plug, female, that he provided that I have misplaced. It was wrapped up in a bit of foam. Well, for now I'll mount up the screw terminals. There to knock it off the bench onto the floor. Let's move some stuff out of the way here. We're going to solder up one pin so I can look at it visually and get them all square to each other. I can see that's really crooked. Really crooked. That's better. Wow, these are not happy parts to put on. I'm trying to push the leads all into the back of the the holes in the PCB. I think we can go ahead and solder the other pin on both of those. They're pretty square. Good enough. Still got a bunch of pin headers to put on, actually. We'll get to those. I need one of these switches. Ow. Jabbed the staple into my fingertip or my thumb tip, so only need one of these. This is for reset. It should just snap down in, and it did. Looks flush. There was 3 of these that he called for that have the longer shaft on them. Again, I found something that seemed about the same on Jameco because ditch key was completely out, and I don't have any with these long shafts in my stock here. At least I didn't have 3 that matched. So wow, sometimes, what the heck? Okay, fingers, what the heck? That one just did not want to snap down in there. Breeze coming in from outside feels good. It is certainly warm out there. It's a beautiful July 4th outside. Sun's out. It's nice out. It just is nice out. Happy with those. They need 2 2-pin. Someplace I've got a little bit left of the male pin header floating around here. At least I should have. Something you may or may not have noticed here is that 100 microfarad cap is now laying over on its side. I actually had to replace it. It was too tall for the LCD to clip down on, so there's the one I pulled out. I just grabbed another and bent it over 90 degrees. The potentiometer for the speaker is underneath the LCD, so I've set both of these to the middle of the range. Once it's up and working, and I know what how loud it's going to be, etc. We'll do the final settings on those. obviously there's one of the things I was looking for. I don't know if I can actually solder that or not. I'll have to look at that closer to figure out how it mounts. I was looking for a little strip of pin header, and I'm obviously not going to find it, so we'll pull out some here. Actually, those might be gold. Those are gold. We'll use the gold. While I'm at it, I need to get these lids are really hard to get off for some reason. I need a. There's a long closed one. I can hold it in place to get it square. I need 2 2-pin. We'll solder 1 pin and then check it to see how square it is. And adjust as needed. It actually looks pretty square. So the jumpers on those would go on if we're powering from USB and come off if we're powering from someplace else. So there's those, there's females, there's the female there. There is, it calls for a female here. Which makes sense. It's for the SD card adapter. It was like it's 6-pin. Hopefully I've got 6-pin in here. I do. There's my 6-pin. Just going to solder up 1 pin for now, and then we'll, yeah, it's moving around. And then we'll take a look for square. It's not as square as I'd like. That looks a little better. That's it. The header for ISP, the in-circuit programming. I'm not going to worry about putting it on right now. Well, shoot, if I say that. I'm not going to worry about putting it on right now. I'd have to dig for the double row. case is probably nice and warm. So that really, what I just soldered right there, is the metal case that the USB connector is inside of, and that creates mechanical strain relief for these 4 little solder joints down here. And of course it makes it a little bit harder to work with in the rig here, because it'll get in the way of the board, but I'm getting lots of stuff mounted out here on the edge that gets in the way of getting it in there. That really empties these out. I'm gonna have to look at this connector, try to figure out what it is he sent me. Well, that tape is a lot tougher than it should be. So it looks like it's surface mount. It's only got the power pins, is it? Interesting. Pretty sure that's where it goes, but it means those pins need to be basically bent. Turn it into a through-hole part. Hopefully that's not shorted against anything. Well, I'm going to assume that's where he meant for that to go. It seems to be. Ouch. I think we are very close to everything I can do on this until the other resistors get here. I don't think there's any more pin headers I need to install. Oh, I need to put the 3 jumper links in, which means I need to find some wire for those. And the wire I wanted to use I can't find. Well, I need to put 3 wire links in. That brings power down into the system. I'm not going to worry about stuffing this as well. You can pick up power there, and I'm assuming you can pick up power there to jumper down to the socket. If you need to do weird things with other parts kind of stuff. I do think we've pushed this about as far as I can at this point. Like I say, got to wait for those transistors to get here before it'll be fully operational. But I think at this point I'll wrap this video up, and there'll be future videos on this as we move ahead. So I'll see you then.